As women, we are constantly fed the lie that your best years end at 29. And by your mid 30s, girl, if you don't have your life completely figured out, well, you might as well go ahead and get casket fresh because what are you even doing with your life? But the truth is, life does keep going and actually can get a whole lot better. So, if you have been feeling that tug that you are meant for more, I am walking you through the 5 levels of reinvention that every woman over 35 must master if she's ready to stop just surviving her life and start creating it. Let's go. This is your reminder that you get to reinvent yourself whenever the heck you choose. Whether you are in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, babe, you are just on time. This topic, reinvention, it's personal to me because I have lived it. When I was in my 20s, your girl did indeed drink the Kool-Aid of believing that I had to have my whole life figured out by the time I turned 30. And when 30 hit and life did not look like what social media or magazines or TV told me what it should, I was devastated and I felt like crap. I felt so behind and stuck and honestly kind of like a failure. But when I stopped trying to rush my way into the next version of me, embraced where I was, and trusted the process, I actually became her. My whole life completely shifted. So let's talk about what real reinvention looks like. Not the kind that pressures you to change overnight, but the one that frees you to grow intentionally no matter your age. Reinvention starts with truth. And so the first level that you have to master as a woman over 35 is awareness. This is the level where you have an honest come to Jesus moment with yourself. And it's probably one of the hardest levels. It reveals that gap between your current life and your potential one, the one that you want. Something shifts in your mid 30s because you've checked some of the boxes. Maybe that is career or having a family or stability, but you may still feel this pull of there has to be more than this. Awareness is about taking a clear look at your life and calling things what they are. You can't change what you won't confront. It's looking around and saying, okay, this is what I've created, this is what I've allowed, this is what's working, and this is what's not. It was what happened to me in my mid 30s. And so the shock of turning 30 had worn off, and I was pretty settled in my career, but I had gotten to a point where I just wanted more out of life. I wanted more out of my relationships, my career, out of myself. And I had to really analyze where I had been settling and where I needed to get out of my comfort zone. Awareness means taking inventory of your space, your habits, your thoughts, your relationships, really your whole life. It's about seeing where things that you need or desire are slipping away, not so that you can shame yourself for it, but so that you can shift. In your mid 30s and beyond, this awareness can hit even deeper because you're managing more, a career, a home, maybe kids or aging parents. And sometimes it feels like everyone else's needs come before yours. Your priority shift. What mattered to you at 25 doesn't necessarily match the woman you're becoming at 40. This season isn't about chasing everything, but it's about curating your life to the point where you are surrounded by the things that matter. Awareness gives you the clarity to see what's actually serving you and what's just keeping you busy. I want you to ask yourself, where am I out of alignment with who I say I want to be? What am I holding onto out of habit instead of intention? What have I been tolerating that doesn't necessarily fit the woman that I'm becoming? This matters because when you can finally see things clearly, not through guilt or fear, but really with honesty, you stop just getting by and going along with the humdrum of your life and start taking your power back. And so with that, awareness is the first act of reinvention. Level 2, release. Before you can rebuild, you have to make room. And so level 2 is releasing to make room. If you're new here, I talk a lot about decluttering from really a holistic perspective of decluttering your life. And from that, releasing is the act of loosening your grip on what no longer serves you. Not just the clutter in your home, but in your relationships, your habits, and your thoughts. It is about creating space for peace to move in. This part can feel a little bit difficult because it requires you to have faith. Faith is what lets you release what's familiar without knowing what's next, not having any clear, exact guidance on, all right, what's happening after this. When you let go, you say, all right, God, I trust that whatever it is that you have ahead of me is so much better than what I've been holding on to. And sometimes the hardest thing to release is the version of you that carried you through maybe a difficult season or that survived a previous season, but was never meant to go with you into the next one. The woman who overgave or people pleased or held on to things and people that weren't good for her or that believed her worth was in how much she carried and in how much she could hustle and do. She served her purpose. But now it is time to thank her and let her rest so that you can be whoever it is that you're supposed to be next. Sometimes releasing can be this big dramatic thing. I know for me, I came to a crossroads in my career where I could take the easy and guaranteed and really safe path that wasn't very fulfilling, but at least I knew what to expect. Or I could go this path that was very unknown, but required a huge leap of faith. I did take the leap of faith, and I'm so glad I did. However, letting go doesn't have to be as dramatic as that, but it does have to be intentional. I am a big fan of starting small, decluttering one drawer, setting one boundary, challenging one limiting belief. Every time you release something that no longer fits, you send a message to your mind, to your spirit, and really even to the world around you that says, I respect myself too much to hold on to what drains me. Release is that bridge between awareness and transformation. It is how you create space for what's next, because when your hands and your heart are full of all of these old things, there is no room left for what God is trying to give you. Level 3 is to rebuild. This is where the woman that you've dreamed of starts to take shape. It's easy to think that reinvention means erasing everything about yourself and starting from scratch. Actually, it is about peeling back the layers of survival, all of the coping mechanisms, the perfectionism, and rediscovering the version of you that was confident, the version of you that was creative and joyful and grounded in faith before all of life's disappointments made you doubt what you were capable of. You are returning to the woman that God designed you to be, the one who trusts herself, who knows her worth, and who moves with peace instead of with pressure. And the beautiful thing is that everything that you have gone through, every setback, every detour, every season that stretched you has given you the wisdom and the strength to rebuild with more clarity and confidence than what you ever had before. After you release what no longer fits, you actually have the space to now start putting your life back together, but this time from a place of intention. This is where you start adding back habits and routines and priorities that align with who you are and who you're becoming. This is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters. What does rebuilding look like? You build systems that make your life lighter, not heavier. Maybe that means creating a Sunday reset to prepare for your week, or simplifying your mornings, or creating boundaries around your work. You also rebuild your confidence by keeping small promises to yourself. This is going for that walk because you said you would do it. Telling yourself that you were going to declutter one thing a day, and so you clear a drawer. Keeping those promises to yourself is how confidence and self-trust grows. You also rebuild your body, your health, and your mindset one habit at a time. Rebuilding does not happen in a single moment of motivation. It happens in a series of quiet decisions, sometimes ones that feel like they don't matter in the grand scheme of things, but they do, and they stack into this transformation. As a faith moment for my fellow Christian girlies, God doesn't do waste. What broke you becomes the blueprint for what now builds you. The pain, the lessons, the setbacks, those were all preparation for the woman that you're becoming. Rebuilding is an opportunity for you to partner with God in creating a life that reflects His peace, your growth, and your purpose. Part 4, realign. Once you've rebuilt the foundations, your mindset, your habits, realignment is where you look at what you built and you ask, how does this reflect who I am now? Sometimes even good things can pull you out of alignment. That quote unquote opportunity that does not fit your piece or your schedule. The routine that worked in one season, but that just kind of feels like drudgery in this one. The goal that once excited you, but now just feels like pressure to perform. Realignment is about shifting from I should do XYZ to doing fill in the blank fits with my purpose. Ask yourself, what am I doing because I should? What am I doing because I enjoy it? What am I doing because it is aligned with where I'm going? When your actions finally match your assignment, things start to flow. You stop striving. You also stop zoning out for hours of your life, and you start operating from alignment and intention. This can look like simplifying your commitments to only the things that matter in this season. You may also want to reevaluate your goals. Do they still match who you're becoming? Spend quiet time reflecting on where you are, or journaling and praying and asking God, okay, where are you leading me next? Alignment is peace, and peace is proof that you are on the right path. Level 5, embody. This is the season of embodiment. This is where everything that you have been working toward stops being theory and just starts being who you are. You have figured out what's going on. You've cleared the clutter. You have rebuilt your foundation, and you've realigned with what truly matters. Now it is time to live it. Embodying means that you are no longer trying to be her. You are her. You speak differently because your words now carry authority. You move differently because your decisions are now rooted in peace and purpose, not pressure. You expect differently because you finally believe that you're worthy. This is where transformation becomes your lifestyle. And as you embody the woman that you've been becoming, you naturally start to influence others. And it's not because you're trying to inspire them, you're just simply living aligned. When you embody peace and you become her, it radiates. It changes the way that you show up in every single room that you enter. You have this commanding confidence where you stop chasing validation because you validated yourself. You don't need everybody else's approval, and that quiet confidence draws respect and opportunities without you having to force them. You also begin to see that what was meant for you was already being prepared. It was just waiting for you to rise to the version of yourself that could receive it. So these are the 5 levels of reinvention: awareness, release, rebuild, realign, and embody. I used to think that reinvention was something that you did in your 20s. But I have learned that your 30s, 40s, and beyond are where you finally have the wisdom, the boundaries, and the self awareness to do it the right way. You start realizing that the timeline the world gave you was never actually the assignment. And you start to understand that your best years aren't behind you, but they are the foundation that you're building from. If you're ready to step into this next version of yourself and clear out everything that's been weighing you down, I would love for you to join my mailing list. Each week, I send out encouragement and tips on becoming your best self and realizing that you're just on time to live the life of your dreams. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like it and share it with a friend who also needs it. Also, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? I'm gonna need you to jump on that because we're just getting started. Alrighty, my friends, thanks for being here. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next. Mwah. Bye for now.